So, welcome guys, welcome. Today is review day number 3 and we are going to finish the remaining grammar topics, okay? So the first grammar that we should start talking about is called the first and the second conditionals, okay? So they're both from the family of conditionals, let's say, but these two are kind of the most common ones and the ones that have the most usage, okay? So let's start and see what they are about. Okay, so we can use both first conditionals and second conditionals to talk about future possibilities. This is something that we should first note, okay? We can use, so let's write it, the first and the second conditionals both can be used to talk about future possibilities. Okay, so this is something that we should know first. After that, we are going to go directly just on one of them first. So the first conditional. The first conditional describes possible or likely future events and the expected results of those events. So let's write it here. What does it talk about? Okay, first conditional. So the first conditional, it talks about possible or very likely future possibilities with their expected results, okay? And the structure for that, or let's say the structure for that is like this. If plus present simple, comma, because you're putting the, if clause at first, and after that you have a sentence or a clause with will and infinitive. So let's write it. If plus present simple, comma, plus the other clause, which is a will clause. So let's write it like this, will plus an infinitive. Will plus, sorry, let me remove the italic, and an infinitive, which is another way of saying verb 1, okay? So one or two examples for this can be like, if, for example, if John Cena retires this year, I will stop watching the WWE. Okay, so this is just one very simple sentence. Do you have any questions, guys, about this? Very good. Good. Okay, just be careful that this is actually talking about very, likely future possibilities, okay? So you're saying that if John Cena retires, I will stop watching the WWE. So of course, this is a, prediction in a way about the future, but you're kind of very sure that this will be the actual thing that you will do. Even though it's not 100%, it might be around 80% or even 90%, okay? Dependingly. So let's go with the second conditional now. The second conditional. First, what does it talk about? The second conditional, we use the second conditional to talk about imagined events or states and their consequences. Result in other words. They can be about the unreal present or unlikely future events. So let's just start talking about it first. We use this, or let's say it talks about imagined states or events, okay? Or you can also say, let's say, or it talks about unreal present situations or very unlikely future events or possibilities and their consequences. So of course the results and the results. Okay, so the results are there. I'm not gonna talk about it every time. Okay, what about the the structure of this? Now the structure of a second conditional is kind of looks like the first conditional, but it's a little different. So we're gonna write if plus past simple. Okay, so instead of present, you're gonna go with what? You're gonna go with past. and after that you're going to have a comma once again because the if clause is coming at first, and after that you're going to have a clause that starts with a would, let's say a would modal verb. Of course, before it you have the subject, so don't forget that, but we just mentioned would because subject is of course always present. So yeah, if with a past simple sentence or tense plus another clause that has a would and an infinitive inside, okay? And a what? And an infinitive, okay? So you're gonna have, of course, a verb one, if you want not to use, let's say, if you don't want to use, and the word infinitive. And one example can be like if, let's say, talking about an unreal present situation. So I'm gonna say if I had 50 wings, I would be called an angel. See, a little funny sentence. This is the unreal present situation. However, if you go with like a very unlikely future event, so something that is not happened yet, and there is a chance that it will happen, but it's not high, the probability is not very high, so you can also use it. You can say like if China became the world superpower, let's say, what should we say, yeah, the US would be in second place. Okay, so this is just a future event that is not very likely, but still the chance is there. Any questions here, guys? Very good. Okay, guys, continuing and going to the other one. Let's see if there's something here that we should talk about. Okay, so in here we also have some tips that we can read. Okay, let's see. We use the phrase if I were you to give advice. Okay, so let's write that. We're using the phrase what? If I were you, comma, so of course it's continuous. Use this to give what? Give advice, okay? So something good that we should know. Okay. And tip number 2 is we can use going to instead of will in the first conditional sentences. Now, it doesn't say the difference in meaning, but let me say it. You can use instead of will, also you can use what? That's right. Instead of will, you can use the grammar of be going to, okay? So if you use the grammar of be going to, we should know that the chance will go higher. So if will was 80%, this is 100. This is not 100%. This is 90%. If will was 90, then this must be around 99%. But it's never 100, so we should know that. But we should also know that going to actually is a little more, what do you say, certain than will. Okay, so if you want to use it about a future situation that you are kind of a bit, what do you say, you're kind of knowing that you know that it would happen, or at least you have a gut feeling that it would happen, right? A little more than the other events. So use be going to. No one's gonna stop you with that. Okay. And if we come on this side, so it says we often use other past or present tenses in the if clause as well. See, now this is something that most people don't really care about, or at least don't even know. So let's see. We often use other past or present tenses in the if clause. So for example, in here we said present simple, right? And in here we said past simple. But what if they're not simple? What if they're a little different? For example, it's not just present simple. What if it's present perfect simple? Okay, those are also right. Okay, what if they're present continuous? Those are also right. Just depends on what meaning you want to convey to the listener. Okay, so for example, if you finished your test and you're waiting to leave, you should come to my desk. See, now even we're changing the modal from will to should, kind of like an advice there. Okay, so that is also okay. Another one is we can also use imperatives in the main clause. In the main clause, the main clause was this one, right? For example, if I save a little every month, I will be able to afford a new car soon. Will be able to afford a new car. So if you don't want to, use this one, you can also go with an imperative. Now, this is mostly for advice itself. So let's see. If you finished your test and you're waiting to leave, please come to my desk. See? And another one can be, we often use other modals than will and would in the main clauses. For example, we can use might, we can use could, we can use can even. One example can be, if I weren't feeling so tired, I might go for a run. Of course, you can say I would go for a run. That is correct. But, might is also correct. Just the probability of it happening might get a little lower. Okay? So I really, really ask you to please study these things when you have your time as well, okay? So coming here now, guys, we're going to focus on third conditional and, of course, the past modal of should have plus past participle. But first, let's see what the book says. Okay, should have plus past participle. We can use the structure should have plus past participle or verb 3 as some people call it to criticize. To what, guys? To criticize. It means say something bad about other people's past actions. Okay? For example, you shouldn't have told them about the party. I wanted it to be a surprise, but you did. Okay? You shouldn't have told them about the party, but you did. So that is a problem. Now you're criticizing that person's action. Okay? So let's write it here. We're going to go with should have plus PP or verb 3, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so the meaning or the usage, let's go with usage, is like, to criticize, okay, criticize someone's past action, okay? So, the structure is it itself, so I'm not going to write the structure. Let's go with an example. One example can be like, hey, you should not have killed that person. Why? So we know that you killed, okay? So now you have already killed. This is okay. You have already killed. We are not denying this, but we're just saying that, we're just saying, our opinion, our negative opinion of a past action that you did. So you should not have killed that person, but you did now. So, suffer the consequences, go to prison, kind of like that. Mostly you can also use it for giving advice, but advice in a very tough love kind of way, right? Tough love. So you're trying to appear in a very negative way, but you're also actually thinking of the other person and trying to help them. You can use this technique. Mostly parents might do that, right? Mostly parents might do that. So for example, your parent, let's say, asked you to go and find a job when you were younger and when you had a lot of energy, but you did not, right? But you did not. Now that you're a little old, let me allow your friend. Okay, so, but now that you're old a little, right? You're old a little, so you come to your parents and you say, hey, mom, can I have some money, right? So now your mother has the power to say that, hey, you should have gotten that job when you were younger. So you should have gotten that job when you were younger. You should have saved some money when you had some, right? So this is also a very good example. Okay. Any questions in this, guys? Okay, so let's go with what? Third conditional. What happened? Conditional. Okay. So the third conditional, however, is a little different. We use the third conditional to talk about imagined past events. About what, guys? Imagined past events. Now, this is something really, really cool. It's not something that you're imagining now. I mean, you are imagining now, yes, but it's not actually a present event or a present state. Okay, you're not saying that. Okay, now I want to have like 10 hands or 10 arms or something. This is like an impossibility, right? In the present, this is an imagination about the present state. But in here, in third conditional, you're talking about imagined past events or past states, things that you cannot even change anymore. At least currently in physics, it's not possible, right? And you're also talking about their consequences. So let's just write it here. Okay, talks about past, or let's write imagine first. Sorry, imagined past events or states, and of course their results. Okay, so what is the structure? Let's go with the structure. The structure is here, if plus past perfect, and this is the if clause, and then you have in the main clause would have plus past participle. So let's write it if plus past perfect, comma of course is there, plus a clause.
Fully charged battery, fully charged.
Sorry, my phone is full of charge. Okay, yeah, if plus past participle plus the other clause is gonna have a would and a have plus a verb 3 plus what, guys? Verb 3. Okay, so of course you need the subject and stuff. I'm not gonna write it, but you should know that. One example can be like if, for example, let's say if Taylor Swift had not won that Grammy that night, I would have cried. Okay, if Taylor Swift had not won that Grammy, but she did, but she what? But she did, I would have cried, but I didn't. So this is what it is. I didn't cry because she won the Grammy. She won that award, and it's okay. And another example from the book is like if you hadn't told me the answer, I'd have checked on the internet. If you hadn't, let's change it into a format of a student, right? Student talking to her or his teacher. If you hadn't helped me cheat, I would have failed in test. See, another one. So we have a lot of examples like this. It just the only limit is your own perfect and beautiful imagination. Do you have any questions here, guys? Oh, sorry, on the test, I think, or just failed the test is also okay. Okay. Do you have any questions? Good. Okay, so if you do not have any questions, yeah, okay, so this is a little tip that you should know is the contraction of apostrophe D. Apostrophe D, like I have not used it here, but it's kind of like this, I'd. So this I'd has two different ways, let's say, that it might go. Okay, let's write the contraction confusion. I hope it's not that confusing, even the title. So this phrase I'd has two different, let's say, full forms. One, it can be I had, or it can be I would. Okay, and the technique that you should know is that after I had, you always have to use verb 3, technically always, yeah, and after I would, you're kind of always have to use an infinitive, which is a verb 1. Okay, so if you have it, just don't get confused, just look what comes after it. Okay, so let's continue a bit and check the other grammar. Okay, so the other piece of grammar that we have to talk about is here, relative clauses. Okay, so relative clauses are also known as adjective clauses in some places, and they're very important in English, and I think you already have studied some of them. For example, defining relative clauses were also taught in B1 even, but let's see if it is in B2 do we have some new information or not. Okay, So first, let's just write what it is. Relative clauses, okay? They are those clauses that define or give information about a noun. And noun can be a noun phrase or whatever, but we're just saying a noun here, okay? So yeah, they're those clauses that define or give information about a noun. They're kind of doing what an adjective would, right? An adjective is giving information about a noun. Now, for example, TV, okay, what kind of TV? Big TV, right? So you can also use a relative clause that can do that. For example, I have a TV that is big. That is big. Now, this part, that is big, is the relative clause, okay? So they are divided into two categories or two parts. So they are, first one is called defining relative clauses. The second one is called non-defining relative clauses, okay? There might be some other names for these types of clauses as well, such as restrictive and non-restrictive, and many more. So you can do your research whenever you have the time, okay? There's one more of it, but that is kind of not, how do you say it, internationally recognized in many places, but they are there, so we're going to call them as situational relative clauses, okay? I'll give one example for that as well. I think it is actually one of the most easiest one, or one of the easiest ones that we have actually. Okay, so let's call this not in the book, or even the books, I would say. Okay, so what do? The defining relative clause, okay? The what, guys? The defining relative clauses, they provide necessary information about a noun or the noun they are talking about, or the noun that they are coming after. The noun that they are coming after, okay? So as an example, we can say, I saw the girl who played the role of Juliet in the Romeo and Juliet movie. See, now, how do you know that this is necessary information? First thing is that, before that even, you should know the place of it, okay? Relative clauses come after the noun that they are talking about, or they come after the noun that they are describing. So in here, this is a relative clause, and we know that this is a relative clause because of the relative pronoun that is always at the first. So nearly always, yeah. So who, and yeah, where was it? What is that question? Yeah, how do you know that it is the necessary information? Okay, so the noun that they're coming after, this noun, if the noun is a common noun, if the noun is what, guys? A common noun. So this is actually not a very, very big rule or something, but it is a pattern that you can find. If the noun is common, there's a big chance that the information that comes after it is needed. Okay, so it's necessary. For example, let me remove this ones. I saw the girl. Good, no problem. However, do you know what girl I'm talking about? This is where the problem comes, right? You don't know what girl I'm talking about. This is a common noun. This is a common noun. So now I'm going to give you more information. I saw the girl who played the role of Juliet in the Romeo and Juliet movie. Okay, so another example can be, for instance, we were living in a neighborhood that had a lot of gang members. Okay, so now again, we find it because we have the relative pronoun there. So let me highlight it so that we know. So this, anything after that right now is called the relative clause here. If I remove it, we were living in a neighborhood. Good, not a big problem. However, is it clear what neighborhood I'm talking about? No, this is a common noun, okay? So if I want to mention, what type of neighborhood it was or whatever, or at least give necessary information to the listener in order for him or her to understand what I'm talking about, I need to use relative clauses here. So these two are the examples of defining relative clauses. And then you go to another one called non-defining. Non-defining relative clauses. Now the non-defining relative clauses, let's say they provide not unnecessary, I don't want to call it unnecessary, let's call it extra. They provide extra information about the noun they are coming after, or the noun that they're modifying. Just that would be much simpler, but okay, we have written it in two places, so it's going to be hard to change. Okay, example or examples. Okay, we are going to give one here. Let's say I know Taylor Swift. Now the sentence is done, I know, but we're going to continue a bit. I know Taylor Swift, who is an American singer or singer-songwriter, okay? So yeah, I know Taylor Swift, who is an American singer. Now, why am I, first let me find it. Let me find the actual relative clause here. It is this, and bold it, okay? So, I know Taylor Swift, who is an American singer. Who is an American singer is actually the relative clause here. But how do I know that this is a non-defining relative clause? Firstly, because of the use of my comma. In non-defining relative clauses, you have to use comma to separate them. What, guys? To separate the relative clause, the said relative clause, from the main clause, okay? And I also know that this is extra information because the noun that we have here, Taylor Swift, is actually in a proper noun. So it's not a common noun that if I say like, oh, I know Taylor Swift, no one's gonna say, oh, which Taylor Swift are you talking about? There's only one unique, special, lovely Taylor Swift in the world. So that is gonna be okay. And the same if we continue a bit, we can say like the principal expelled, let's go with expelled Ali. Okay, so Ali, who was a student at a school, so you're in a school, you're talking with his friends. Now you're saying, hey guys, Ali is not here today, right? And then say no, and then you say yeah. So yesterday the principal expelled him, right? Expelled means like kicked him out of the school. The principal expelled Ali, who was a very naughty kid, okay? Who was a very naughty kid. Now, this part is unnecessary technically. It's extra because we all know who Ali is. We don't need to specify, and determine which Ali we're talking about. However, sometimes it might be necessary. Sometimes, for example, when maybe there are three Alis, right? There are three Alis in your sentence or in your class or whatever. So you have to specify that time. But mostly the rule of thumb is that if the noun is proper, the information is extra. If the noun is common, the information is just necessary. Okay. Do you have any questions, guys? Very good. So I'm going to give one example for this one as well. Situational relative clause. And I really, really love this because it's very easy. I mean, it's too easy, some people even say. So, okay. Situational relative clauses, and they, let's say they talk about situations, okay, and they only have one relative pronoun. If you can guess it, then you are an amazing guy or girl. They only have one relative pronoun, and that is which. It is amazing. Let's give an example. I know you're gonna like it. Okay. For example, we can say that let's say Brock Lesnar retired from wrestling in the past year. It's wrong. Okay, so he did not retire. For those of you who love watching WWE, Brock Lesnar retired from wrestling in the past year. Now, this is called my situation. Okay, Brock Lesnar retiring, not continuing wrestling. So this is the situation. Now I'm gonna put a comma and I'm gonna say which made a lot of his fans sad and upset. Okay, so which made a lot of his fans sad and upset. This is something that does not come directly after the noun it's talking about. See, I'm not talking about past year. Past year did not make his fans upset. The complete situation made the fans upset. And the situation was retirement, right? So we can say this which is actually now talking about, or at least introducing this part of the clause to the relative clause. Then this part is all the way from Brock Lesnar all the way coming down to past year. Okay, so this is very, very good. And one more can be like James bought a new, let's say, a new $50 million car, which just made his wife very, very angry. Okay, so yeah, she did not like this. Let me put another hyphen as well. Yeah. Okay, guys, so I believe we're done with it. Do you have any questions in the defining, non-defining, or situational relative clauses? Do you have any questions, guys? Um, okay, so the other one is reported speech and reporting verbs. So let's start with what reported speech actually is, and then, we will talk about reporting verbs as well. Okay, so reported speech. Um, let's say we use this grammar topic when we have to report what someone else said in the past. Done. That is it. That is the easiest thing that you can get, and it's actually very, very efficient. Let's go with I think what things that we have to think about or consider when we're trying to change, right, a direct quote or a direct speech into an indirect speech or a reported speech. So consider the followings when changing or when reporting. Let's write when what? When reporting. So one, you should care about the speaker. So kind of like, let's say who was the speaker and who is the speaker now. Okay, so like who actually said, who was the original speaker of that sentence, and who is the speaker now, who is the reporter, who's reporting now. These two things are very important. Okay, so another one we should care about is, let me think, yeah, we need this. Okay, we need reporting verbs such as like say, tell, ask, all of them, and many more, like even let's say express, state, claim, anything, nearly any verb that can talk about communicating, right, like sending information, that can be used as reporting verbs. So another thing that we should care about is the back shifting technique, right? What happened? Back shifting, meaning going back one tense, okay, from the original sentence, let's say, going back one tense. Another one is like something that you should be careful is the reference of time, because like you know that times that times now is not our now. That times tomorrow is not our tomorrow. The same thing. And another one is reference of place. So, for example, the word here at that time, 20 years ago, is not the word here, or is not equal to the word here now, today. So these things are, when you consider reference of time and reference of place, you know what to change and what to keep, let's say. And if there are new things that we will add, but for now, these 5 things are what comes to my mind, okay, or what come to my mind. Let's see if we can do one example. So an example can be, let's go with a direct speech. We can say let's go with Ali. Ali said, now be careful guys, this part is not part of the actual direct speech, okay? Ali said, comma, double quote, anything inside the quote is the part that you have to report. This part is done. See, it has already been backshifted. So said, it went one tense back. But in here, inside double quote, you have to be careful. So Ali said, okay, what should we say? Ali said, I am happy. Done. Very easy. Now, if you want to continue and report this, you can select report speech. First, we're going to start with the first part. Of course, it is already reported. Ali said. Now, this is the part where we have to check our checklist. First, speaker. Who was the speaker? The speaker 20 years ago, let's say, okay? The speaker 20 years ago was a person named Ali, okay? And so the subject at that time, the direct unchanged quote is I am happy. Who is this I? This I 20 years ago was a person named Ali. But now I is not Ali, okay? So I is you, let's say. So you have to change it. So you're going to say Ali said he. Okay, not I. Ali said he. Ali said he. Now you're going to use reporting verbs. Okay, we have used it. Said is there. And then we have backshifting, going back one tense. So am is the present be form. You're going to go with the past one because it's in the past. One tense back. Present simple goes to past simple. Ali said he was happy. Still happy. Not a lot of difference. Happy was is a word that doesn't really change. So yeah, your sentence done. You successfully reported a sentence from 20 years ago. Another one, if we go with a little difference and let's say make it a little harder, we can say that Amina said, comma, double quote, I am going to go to the US next week. Next week? No. You're not gonna feel a lot of challenge there, let's say. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the US tomorrow. Okay? So let's see if you can do this. Reported speech. Do we have anyone who can say it, guys? Raise your hand if you want to change that. Bring it. Yes, Kamala. No, Kamala said. Go to the US. Very good. The next day, yes, you're right. Okay, so very good, Kamala. Thank you. Amina said this part is there. Now, very, very, very good thinking by Kamala because she changed I to she, because now Amina is a she for us. So Amina says she was, and again, not am going to or not is going to, was to the going to go to the US the next day, not tomorrow. Not what? Tomorrow, okay? Now, mind you, you should know one thing. If you are very, very aware of the time at that time, of the time of that time, okay? For example, let's say that it was May, what is the date today? May 25th, right? So if it was May 25th on that time, what is tomorrow? The tomorrow would have been May 26th. So that is okay. I mean, let me change it to complete past, maybe 2020, right? 2020. So if you have this kind of information, use it. You can say that Omna says she was going to go to the US, not the next day. Just say what? On May 26th, 2020. Now, this is absolutely correct because you have the information, but not everyone does. So that's the problem where, tomorrow comes. So when people don't have exact information, so you should also focus on the reference of time and those things. Change tomorrow to the following day, or change tomorrow to the next day, and something like that. Okay. Do you have any questions here, guys? Good. So in here, we're just going to check the structures of reporting verbs and their patterns, okay? So in what patterns or in what structures mostly you can see them in English. So the reporting verbs that we have are like, after some reporting verbs, there are different verb patterns. For example, verb plus that plus clause. Now, sorry, I forgot to say that you can add the word that here, okay? But that is just optional. If you want, sure. If you don't want to add it, no one's gonna stop you, okay? So verb plus that plus clause. For example, agree, right? You have that or you don't have that, it doesn't matter. But after agree, you should have a clause. This is something good. After that, you have like these, verbs: inform, tell, warn, assume. These ones mostly come like this. You have a verb, after the verb, you have kind of like an object, somebody, a person who was informed, for example. We informed who? We informed them. We informed who? We informed the police, right? And after that, you have a that, or you don't have a that, doesn't matter, but then you go to your clause. Then you have another structure that goes like verb plus to plus infinitive, and these ones mostly use agree, promise, and refuse. Some of them might be, what do you say, repeated, because see, agree we have in here as well, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it's not wrong. Agree has two different structures here, so it's okay. And as you can see, all of them have the ellipses or the three dots at the end, so it means like there might be more. Okay. Okay, I'm not sure if I used the correct word for that or not, sorry. Okay, I might have said a disease. Okay, agree, promise, refuse. So after them, you just have a to plus an infinitive. They refused to speak with us. They agreed to give us a refund. They promised to fix our TV. Another one is like verb plus somebody, the object, plus to plus infinitive. For example, ask, order, tell, and remind. She ordered me to leave. She asked me to help her. She reminded me to kill her friend. And another one is like verb plus gerund, admit. Okay, now this is really, really good, guys. Verb plus gerund, you have an ing here. Admit is one of the most common mistakes, let's say, that people have, especially when they're using it. They mostly, after admit, they use it, a to plus infinitive, which is completely wrong. So we should try not to do that. After admit, you have a gerund. For example, he admitted taking the money. He admitted killing that person. Okay, apologized for killing that person. He denied killing that person. He regretted selling his TV, and he suggested going to Park Sharna, right? And then you have verb plus and sorry, an object, but this time it's optional. So if you want to use it, sure. If not, not a big problem. And then you have a reported question. You have a what? A reported question. When you are reporting questions, they always take the structure of a normal sentence. See, the first question word comes, yeah, WH word like where, who, what, they come, but then after that you don't have the helping verb and then the subject, or you don't have the verb and then the subject, you have subject and then the verb. So SV, the structure of a normal sentence. They can be like ask, discover, know, realize, and wonder. I wondered what they are. I asked my friend who his father was. See, different sentences. Okay, and with negatives, we have to use what? Not to plus infinitive or not plus the gerund. Some people might say like we use to plus not plus infinitive, which is not completely wrong. We have seen people use it, but grammatically, this is the correct one. Put not before the to plus infinitive. We agreed not to go. He apologized for not stopping at the red light. Do you have any questions here, guys? Okay, guys. So let's go with past modals of deduction, one of the best things ever. So let me write it here. Past modals of deduction. Okay, so deduction is like guessing. Okay, so when you want to guess about something, when you want to guess about something in the past, we're using past modals of deduction, and what they are. So one by one, let's talk about it. Okay. We can use modal verbs to show that we are making a deduction and not stating a fact. We are guessing and not giving you real information about it. Not someone saying that this is the truth because it happened. You're not sure. You're just deducing, let's say, okay? We use the modal verbs such as must, may, might, could, and can't, plus have, plus past participle to make deductions about the past. Okay? So, for example, we can say day or late. Now, day or late is actually not a deduction, it's not actually a guess. You know it. Okay? So, meaning, what does it mean? I know for certain that they are late. I'm not guessing. I'm here. I'm at the party. No one is here. So they're late. Okay? But if you come to the other one, this is where the deduction starts. So they are never late. They're never late. They must have gotten lost. Gotten, yes. In the British books, they use got, but you can say gotten as well. They must have gotten lost. So let's go with the first one. The first one is must have plus, sorry, plus what is that? Verb 3. Okay? So when you're nearly 100% sure, but not a lot, so we're gonna say very sure, but not 100%. Okay, so that's kind of like your guessing game, let's say here. One structure can be, one example, sorry, can be like, yeah, when I came home, my father was not there. He must have been at work. He must have been at work. So again, you're not 100% sure. Maybe he was on the way, but there's a big chance. I don't know. I have a gut feeling that maybe he was at work. Another one is like you can use may, might, could, have plus verb 3. Okay, so they may have gone the wrong way, or they might have gone the wrong way, or they could have gone the wrong way. What does it mean? I believe it's possible that they've got lost or that they've gotten lost. So let's write it may, might, and could have plus verb 3. Okay, this is used when you're once again not very sure, but you're about like 70% sure. 70% give or take, so they might change. Okay, you're kind of that much sure, or even a little lower depending on what you're using. So may and might even be a little lower than could. So we can say like James is not at home. James is not at home. He might have gone to the supermarket. He might have gone to the supermarket to buy something, right? To buy some groceries, let's say, groceries. So that is your sentence. Now we can continue and check the other one as well. So the other one is like, they can't have gotten lost. They can't have gotten lost. They have a sat nav, which is short for satellite navigation, I believe. Yeah. So it means like, I believe they haven't got lost, or I believe they haven't gotten lost. But again, you cannot be 100% sure, but you know, you're nearly sure that it did not happen. Okay, so let's write it in a different way. Can't have plus verb 3. It means that you're very sure, but not 100% that it did not or it didn't happen. Okay, so this is a little funny. It's kind of like the complete opposite of must. When you say must, you're sure that it happened, but when you say can't have, you why is this like this? Sorry. But when you say can have, you're kind of like very sure that it did not happen. But again, not 100% once more. So you're gonna say like, you know, my father can't have been at work. Why? Because at, for example, 6 o'clock, he's mostly on the way. Mostly on the way. But again, I'm not saying he's always on the way. It's just a guess. Okay, my father can't have been at work. Okay, and continuing, we can also go with one more. The other one is completely the, you know it, right? This is not a guess. They haven't gotten lost. I can see them coming up at the street now. So I know for a fact that they haven't gotten lost because I see them right now at our door, right? So they're there. How is it possible that they have gotten lost? Okay. So, and in here we also have it. It's mentioned. The opposite of must for deductions is can't. We can also use may not have, or might not have, or mightn't have, which is not very used, but it is correct. For example, try calling them at home. They might not have gone out. It's possible that they haven't gone out. Maybe they were just at home sleeping and they didn't hear the knock. So, any questions in the past modals of deduction, guys? Good. And let's go with the last grammar, wishes and regrets. Wishes and regrets. Sorry. So when we make a wish, we imagine an unreal situation in the past, in the present, or in the future. Okay? So they have been divided into 3 categories for us very neatly, right? So we can study correctly. Let's start with the first. Wishes about the future. Let's write it here. I believe if we write it's going to be better. Wishes about the future. Is that the first? Yeah. Okay. So we use would to make wishes about the future, and we don't use would to make a wish about yourself. For ourselves, we use could. So let's write it. Okay, we use would and we use could, but could for ourselves. Okay, and would for others. For others, let's say, yeah. Okay. So, an example can be, I wish it would stop raining. I wish it would stop raining. Or I wish I could get a better job. Now, one thing that you should not forget is that I wish is there, okay? I wish is at the top of every one of them, at the beginning of every one of them. So you're using would and could with I wish. Let's go with one example here. I wish I, not I wish I would, sorry, I wish, I wish Roman Reigns would beat the new UFC guys in a match. Okay, so another one with for ourselves this time, you can say, I wish I could what? I wish I could travel the world and see the different basis. Okay, so this is a wish for yourself. Now we can continue a bit and check the other ones. Wishes about the present. So when you're wishing about the present, we can use the past simple. Now see, this is where it gets a little confusing. When you're wishing about the present, you have to use past simple. Okay, so we can use the past simple to make wishes about the present. We can also make wishes about the present with could plus infinitive. With could plus infinitive. So we have kind of two techniques. Now be careful. I wish I could in the future and I wish I could in the present. Both of them are okay. Okay, but you just have to focus on the context and see what you're actually talking about or about what tense you're actually wishing. So let's go with the first one. We're gonna write it here. Wishes about the about the present, and we can use the first one is the past simple we can use, and we can also use could. Of course, could with wish, but you already know that, I think. Okay. For example, I wish what? I wish, let me just remove this. The computer is not allowing me to live my life peacefully. Okay, past simple. I wish John Cena appeared on TV one more time. Okay, so I wish John Cena appeared. Yeah, this is okay, but we don't need it now. So this person thinks, or this laptop actually thinks that we're making a wish about the future, which is kind of reasonable. I mean, it is possible that it's about the future as well, but no, right now I'm talking about right now. I'm looking at the TV and I wish that he appeared, okay? So you can also make one more. I wish plus a past simple tense. I wish people didn't kill animals. Okay, one more for could. Let's go with could. I wish I could show you what I mean. See, now this is about the present. You're saying something to your friend, they don't understand you. So you're saying, I wish I could show you what I mean, but I can't. So please listen carefully. Listen carefully. Do you have any questions here, guys? Wishes about the present? Okay. So wishes, what was that? The other one, wishes about the past. Now, wishes about the past is really supposed to be easy, but let's see. We use the past perfect to make wishes about the past. Now, be very careful. When you're wishing about the present, use past simple. When you're wishing about the past, use past perfect. So one more tense back, okay? And the example can be, I wish I hadn't been so lazy at school, but I was lazy, so now I regret it. Okay, so let's write it. We can use the past perfect tense. An example can be, I wish my laptop had more, sorry, I wish my laptop had more RAM. Sorry, this is good for this one as well. Okay, let me write that here once. I wish my laptop had more RAM. Okay, so this is about the present. But if I'm talking about my laptop in the past, at a specific time, even in the past, I can use it like this: had more RAM. Okay, so the first had is the helping verb, the other had is verb 3. Past perfect. Okay, another one can be like, I wish that Sasha had come back to the WWE. Do you have any questions here, guys? Very good then. So let me just see. Okay, we have some tips here. Uh, is it that one? Okay. So the tip says that first one, to talk about something that we see as realistic, possible, or likely in the future, use hope. Now, this is a very common question people mostly have. They're saying like, what is the difference between hope and wish? Because in Persian, our language, we kind of have a similar word, if not the same completely. So this is what it means. Okay, if you see something that, or if you're talking about something that is a little realistic, that it's possible that's going to happen, you use hope. Okay, and not wish. And I am loving this example here. See, I hope you get better soon is better than to say I wish you would get better soon. Now, when you say your friend is in a hospital, right? You can say I hope you get better soon. This is okay because you know that this is realistic. This is a real possibility in the future. But if you say I wish you would get better soon, your friend might say, okay, what is going on? Do I have cancer or something? Why feel that I can get better soon? So, that is something that you should know. Yeah, use hope for things that have a higher chance of happening. Other one, I wish blank blank, or if only blank blank. If only blank blank means the same as I wish blank blank. For example, and we also use it in the same way. For example, if you can say here, where is it? Yeah. I wish I hadn't been lazy, or I wish I hadn't been so lazy. You just change it. If only had I not been so lazy. If only had I not been so lazy. And just one thing, guys, I'm not sure why the book did not mention it. When we're using if only, we have to change the syntax, the structure from a like a subject verb structure or a pattern to a verb subject. Okay, so kind of like I wish I had more time. If you use if only, you say if only had I had, if only had I had, or if only did I have more time. This makes it much more formal and it's much better. Okay? So another one that we have here is like when making wishes about I, he, she, and it, we can use were instead of was. Okay, so this is really, really good. For example, let's come here and what should we go with? What should I write here? What is the title? It's a tip. Okay, so it doesn't have a title. We're gonna go with were or was. Okay, like this. So, for example, if you want to say like, if I wish Dasha is the name of a person, right? One person. So, you know, and person's instinct would actually be like use was, but this is actually not right. If it was actually something in the past, I would use was, no problem. But now, because it's a wish, it's something that did not actually happen, so I'm going with were. Okay, I wish Dasha were living in the US rather than Korea. Okay, so this is a simple sentence. And one more thing that we talked about, if only, is that you don't need always to change the structure or the syntax with if only. Okay, if only, for example, wish I wish I had more time in the country. You can also say like if only I had more time in the country. This is correct, okay? It doesn't matter. But if you change the syntax, sometimes it makes it a little more formal as well. And it's also really, really good. Okay, so do you have any questions now, guys? And we have one more thing here as well, and that is should have plus past participle. We kind of talked about it a little, I think, but we're gonna say it again. Should have plus past participle or verb 3 is used to express regret about our own past actions as well. In there we talked about criticisms coming from other people, but now it's like, criticism in a way from ourselves, right? About our own past actions. It's my fault. I should have locked the door, right? So let's write should have plus verb 3. You can say like, oh, I should have saved money with a good income, right? So this is one very simple sentence. Do you have any questions here, guys? About anything? Good then. Okay, so I believe we're gonna stop recording and then we can talk about the exam and any other questions you might have. So